Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're still on chapter 32, verse 1. We were discussing yesterday difference of opinion regarding is the golden calf a deity or being served as a deity? Is the golden calf being constructed as a replacement for Moshe, as a conduit between God and the Jewish people? I just want to look at the verse one more time because I want to see a kliyakar on a different point here. Again, verse 1, chapter 32, verse 1. Vayar ha'am ki voshesh Moshe laredis min ha'ar. The nation saw that Moshe was tarrying and coming down from the mountain. The nation gathered on Aaron, and they said, make for us whatever the word Elohim means. We discussed this yesterday, etc. Let's see the Kli Yakar on Pasuk Aleph. It's the second Kli Yakar on the Pasuk. Vayar ha'am. And this is a very famous idea that I want to be clear is not said by all the Mefarshim. Some say it, some don't, but I just want to see this idea as well. Zeh ha'erev Rav. The people who pushed the golden calf were the mixed multitude, the Egyptians that came along with the Jews out of Egypt. Now, how do you say that? It says the nation. Well, he says, Ki b'chol makom ne'amar lashon ha'am al hapchusim. This is actually something that we've touched on in other contexts, in various parshios, that sometimes when it talks about the nation, the implication of the nation, so we've said it, we've contrasted Yisrael and the Am, and Yisrael kind of implies like the spiritual elites of the nation, and Am kind of implies the masses. So the Kliyaka is sort of saying it the other way, that Am implies sort of like the people less spiritual among the nation. The pasuk in Ba'aloscha talks about the Am, the nation, were complaining. Rashi says over there, it wasn't everybody, it was a segment of the people. Kivoshesh Moshe, Yan ki yadu alahem shlo alu mitzrayim pi Hashem elo Moshe me'atzmo helam v'yaspi Hashem lo shoal k'mo shene'amar reid. This is a point that Rashi makes later in this parsha. So God says to Moshe, go down because your nation has acted in an inappropriate way. What does it mean, your nation? So Rashi says that God says to Moshe, it wasn't my idea to bring these people along. It was your idea to bring these people along, the Egyptians who wanted to come along with them. Moshe imkenhu. So he says, when Moshe davens for the Jewish people, Moshe, we'll see it, God, I don't know if we'll see it together, but it's later in the parsha. Moshe says, Hashem, how could you destroy the people? Why should you be angry at your nation? So what it means, why should you be angry at your nation, presumably means Moshe is saying, Hashem, if the Erev Rav did something wrong, so be it. But why does that impact your people? In other words, you want to criticize me for bringing along the Erev Rav? Okay. You want to punish the Erev Rav? Maybe I shouldn't have brought them along. Okay. But what does it have to do with the rest of them? So it's a very interesting push and pull regarding my nation, your nation. Who's saying it? The Yakar says you have to pay attention to that. Okay. Okay, I think there's a lot to do, so I think we're going to stop here. But it's an idea that comes up in various ways in Mefarshim in this parsha, that perhaps it wasn't the masses of Klal Yisrael pushing the golden calf. Perhaps it was the Erev Rav's idea. Okay, verse 4. They've come to Aaron. They've said to Aaron, "We want to, make something for us, whatever it means." And he decides to do it. By the way, he told them to bring gold. So any head of an institution could tell you ask people to make donations. Who knows when they'll get back to you, right? So lo and behold, they show up right then and there. They're back. They came home, they got the gold, they're ready to go. He formed it. He made this molten calf. Vayomru, and they said, Eile Elohecha Yisrael Asher Elucha Me'eretz Yisrael. These are your Elohim. Again, we've already said this is a question what Elohim means. Does it mean a God or does it mean a leader? These are your leaders, Israel, that took you out of Egypt. By the way, look at the last Rashi on Pasuk Daled, Eile Elohecha Yisrael, V'lo nemar Eile Eloheinu. What do you mean this is your God? It's our God. Shouldn't it be that? In other words, the people who are supporting the building of the golden calf, why are they saying this is your God, Israel? This is our God, Israel. So Rashi says, in step with what we talked about the Kliyaka before, Mikan she'erev Rav Shalom Mitzrayim, Heim shenikhalu al Aron, v'heim shasa'u. So what you see from that is the mixed multitude did it, that they're sort of the outsiders. So they turn to the Jewish people and say, Jewish people, this is your God, because we're really not one of you. So that's Rashi's position. Let's see the Ramban over here. Ramban on Pasuk Daled. Vayomru Eile Elohecha Yisrael asher lucha. Gam ze hakasav yoreh osanu. This pasuk also teaches us ki ein tipesh ba'olam sheyachshov ki azav hazeh asher haya ba'ozneihem hu asher hotziam mitzrayim. The Ramban is back to his issue about what is this thing that they're building in the first place. What fool would think that the gold that 5 minutes ago was in someone's earring now is their God? Avol amru koach hatzura zos helam misham. What they're saying is the force behind this form took them out of Egypt. V'nei lo timtza she'omer be'egel b'shum makom asher hotzianu mitzrayim ki em modim b'misha amar anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim ki shmo hagadol ha'motzi osam misham avol yom komos rabim asher helucha ki yikhu zeh b'makom hayara gdola. So again, I just want to cover some ground. The Ramban is saying that what they mean when they say this is your Elohim that took you out of Egypt. The thing didn't even exist at the time. It was an earring at the time. So what does that mean? They took you out of Egypt. So again, it means this represents God that took us out of Egypt. Our God, the God we've been serving all this time. That's the Ramban's point. On the other hand, look over at the Sforno on Pasuk Daled, Eile Elohecha Yisrael, Eila yu etzlecha Elohim, shetispalel aleim b'chol tzorchecha. The Sforno says, this will be for you a God that you should dive into this whenever you have a need. Va'osam tavod, and you should serve this being lahasik chavtzecha, to attain your desires. So again, it's sort of like, split screen as we're going. The Ramban is very passionately saying it's one thing, and the Sforno and others are saying something else. Okay, let's go on to verse 5. Vayar Aaron. Aaron saw. What did Aaron see exactly? And what do I know from this pasuk that I hadn't known before? You know what I mean? Wouldn't I assume that Aaron saw and heard everything that happened in the previous psukim? So it says Aaron saw, vayiven mizbeach lefanav, and he built an altar in front of this calf. Vayikra Aaron vayomar. Aaron proclaimed and said, Chag Lashem Machar, holiday for God tomorrow. Let's see the Ramban. Ramban and Pasuk Hey. Vayar Aaron. Tam Ze'ah Kasuv, the meaning of this verse, Shera'a Osam Bira Michavnim El Ha'egel. He says he understood that their perspective on this was off. In other words, Aaron, Vayar means much more than, what was in his line of vision. Vayar means he got it. He understood that they were off in all of this. Vikam ubana mizbeach. So then he got up and built an altar. Vikara, and he declared, Chag Lashem Machar. There's a holiday for God tomorrow. Sheyizbechu Lashem Hamiyuchad. What Aaron means, what he says, there's a holiday for God that we will bring sacrifices to the God. The God, remember, this is the Ramban, the God that all of us recognize. Al Hamizbeach Asher Banahu Lishmo. I'm building this altar for us to serve Hashem that took us out of Egypt. V'lo yivnu heim mizbechos levoshes pneihem. So first of all, Aaron is trying to control things here. he doesn't say, why doesn't everyone build appropriate altars? He says, okay, everybody, we're doing great. This is going to be an altar. This is the spot for sacrifices, and it's going to be Lashem. It's going to be towards the Jewish God, and in the great model for many leaders that would come after him, and we're going to do it tomorrow, everybody. Not today, but tomorrow. So Aaron has done three things here. Aaron has clarified. I want to make sure everyone understands we're serving the God that took us out of Egypt, the real God that took us out of Egypt. 1. 2, Aaron is saying, what I'm building is going to be the core of that service. He doesn't want everyone doing their own thing. And 3, he says, we're going to wait until tomorrow. Everyone needs time to spiritually prepare themselves. We're going to wait until tomorrow. And it could very well be, says the Ramban, that what he says tomorrow is to buy time. Maybe Moshe will arrive in the interim. Because again, the Ramban's perspective is that this was all about because they're just scared they don't have Moshe. The moment they see Moshe, it's all over. So maybe I'll just buy enough time. Very next verse, if you look at verse 6, Vayashkimu vaboker, they got up early in the morning, like Hashkama minyan. Vayashkimu vaboker, they got up early in the morning. Vayalu olos vayagishu shlamim. Great! The Kohen Gadol told us that we're bringing sacrifices on the altar tomorrow. They're up first thing in the morning. Lo amra kasov vayalu lo olos vayagishu lo shlamim. Very interesting. The Ramban says, look at verse 6. It doesn't say they brought to him olos, and they brought to him shlamim, him being God. Aaron said the holiday is going to be to God tomorrow. They show up the next day and they bring olos, they bring shlam. These are names for offerings. It doesn't say they brought these offerings to God. If you're thinking about the language of Aaron, it should be they brought offerings to God. So what's going on? Aaron, different people had different things in mind. Some people had in mind that they were going to bring an offering to Hashem. Some people had in mind, though the Ramban is saying that this was not even the original talking point. Some people had in mind that they're bringing this offering to this calf. So in verse 8, when Hashem tells Moshe what happened, Hashem says they built this goat, the calf, and they have bowed to the calf, and they have brought sacrifices to the calf. So whereas what Aaron did, he was sort of trying to feed the frenzy in a way that he felt wasn't treif, it was sort of silly, but it wasn't treif, but he was losing control despite all of his efforts. And there was a segment of Klal Yisrael that was full force avodah zarah here, even though according to Ramban, that's not what they said. Vim ulai haya Aaron amakriv korbanos amar stam vayalu alos vayigishu shlamim kiyum mechavin lashem vim datam el ha'egel asher asu vayu abalim mifaglim. So they didn't wait for Aaron to bring the sacrifices. They did their own sacrifice in their own way. So it's somewhat confusing, but I think it's really fascinating. So we discussed this morning, in addition to the issue about was it a God or was it a representative of Hashem, we discussed the issue of is it the people or is it the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude? And we also had the Ramban's very interesting perspective on these psukim. Once the calf is built, what everyone is doing at that point in time.